In today's video, we are discussing a Magic card that has spiked over 1000%. We are going to discuss the set it came from and why it continues to be popular. And then we have to look at some other cards that keep drawing attention. And you know what? I need to make sure you guys know about these cards as well. And that's still not all we're going to talk about. Since 2024, we've had so many cards spike so high, it really makes you wonder what was going on in the market, but really just shows the collectability and viability of many of these cards. Either collectible or players want it for a deck. Either way, they're desired. And that's where it leaves us off for today's video. We're going to find out why this card is just doing so well. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thank you again for hanging out with me on my channel today. A reminder, if you enjoyed today's content, to don't forget, like and subscribe to my channel. Turn on your notification bell. I put out new content every single day, and we're only 170 subscribers away from getting to 27,000 on that journey to 30K. And of course, the ultimate goal being 50,000. We're going to have a huge party at that point, but don't worry, 30,000 will have a party, and you're all invited. Now, let's jump in. Let's see what's going on. You guys know I hate to waste time in a card spike video. This is Worship. Borderless Edition, Commander, Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth. Average price now is $31.50. That monthly change is $29.17. You can already see, though, the price is going over the rainbow. It's starting to shift down. And there's numerous reasons why that's happening. But let's take a closer look at the card before we get into what's going on. Worship is a forecasting cost. This is 1 white and 3 other, and it's an enchantment that states, if you control a creature, damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1 reduces it to 1 instead. There's actually reserve list cards like Ali from Cairo who say your life can't go below 1 and stuff. If anything brings it below 1, it goes to 1. It's a very interesting, of course, card from the reserve list, and there's many takes on that card. A whole bunch of things like there's a thieving card and stuff that could morph. There's a few of them out there, but you can also see a card like Worship works the same way. You got to have a creature out there, and as long as this thing's out there with that creature, you take 1,000 damage, you're all good. You're just down to 1 life. Epic. You take a look at the imagery here of Lord of the Rings, you see the flavor text, and a lot of people are going to get on board with cool cards like this. Now, the only thing I can also mention here is, when we're looking at the price of this card, look at all the versions that have been printed. It actually goes further down the page than this, but I wanted to get a good screenshot and show you guys what's going on. When you look at the different versions and different artworks, okay? The, Amon Ket stuff, you got the very flavorful, very cool looking artwork one. You got the Lord of the Rings. The other ones are kind of nice. They're nothing, to me, is nothing to write home about. They're nice. Nothing is offensive. Nothing really bothers me. They're all kind of cool looking. But I think the Lord of the Rings one, I think most of you guys will agree, it does look the best out of all those options that were being given to us. Now let's jump into Lord of the Rings itself. This set continues to sell. The scroll version cards continue to be bought out. They don't always spike the way they did a few months ago, but the fact we are seeing hundreds of copies still disappear all the time means there are people out there accumulating thousands and thousands of copies. I can't say it's one person doing it, but there's just too many transactions to ignore to not let you know what's going on. A lot of people did buy this product. There's a lot of these cards out there, and it's not like Wizards of the Coast underprinted it, but either way, that desirability means the cards are probably going to go into low stock somewhere in the next decade or two, which seems like forever, but let's face it, if you've been around Magic for a while, it's not as long as you think. But here's the other thing. Lord of the Rings, it has a mass market appeal as a Magic product. Across the board, fantasy, fits in well, really ties into the Magic the Gathering kind of theme style. And it also has all those people out there who've read the books, the movies, the novels, the toys, that cross collectability. It's going to get some action. It's going to draw some people in. But now let's go on to another card that I think most people didn't know was happening this badly. And I'm going to take this chance to share it with you. This is Copy Artifact, Revised Edition. Now, this card has been on quite the tear lately. You can see here it's averaging $132.49. But if you went back to around December 2024, this card was $30. It's gone through multiple mini buyouts and a few larger scale buyouts, and the problem is the market is not refilling the supply. We are starting to have a drought. The pressure on this card, surprisingly, is kind of holding. So when we take a closer look at what the sales look like, this is a screenshot from yesterday, TCG Player. When you start seeing all these sales, you can see them just lining up. All the ones on the 11th, right? All the ones on the 10th. And it goes down, down, down. That means this thing's already sold 100 and something copies in the last 10 days. Now, it crosses over from my top 10 videos, so we're probably looking at about 69 copies this week, give or take a little bit. But that amount of action on any particular card would be scary if that was just TCG Player, but it's not. This thing carries over into eBay. When we start seeing sales shift into eBay, it really starts making you wonder, is there a buyout going on? Is something strange happening in the market? I'm not talking a mini buyout. I'm talking the real deal, where you see literally hundreds of copies disappearing week over week because the price is shifting up. It is going higher than I've seen in a very long time. I've stated on this channel, I do believe that card is a $200 card because of what it can do. As a one blue, one other casting cost, it can copy any artifact in play. Think of all the artifacts the players can use in Commander now. Vintage, Legacy, Kitchen Table, Casual. It is insane. There are imitation cards like Mirror Maid out there that do the same thing, and they can copy enchantments, but it's that low casting cost that guarantees a bit of an edge every time. The fact they can't copy it and reprint it means it just keeps going up, especially when the drought comes in. Now, this drought I'm talking about, it just means when people are buying it, the price goes up because there's a lower supply and it's still desirable, but we don't have the market filling the void. There isn't more of them coming to market. For every, it looks like right now it's a 3-to-1. So for every 3 that leave the market, 1's coming back in, right? Roughly that's what I'm seeing right now. And this includes Card Market in the UK. They still have lots of copies, which is kind of balancing out for what we're getting here in Canada, the US, and South America. We're having this kind of draw out, but other places still have a supply. So I'm not sure if this is actually an actual buyout of somebody picking up copies and kind of being like, shh, or if there's something just bigger going on where players realize how good the card is now and are actually taking the chance to buy near mint copies. That's what most of these are going, okay? Really nice quality copies. But we're not done. I got one more thing to share with you for cards before we finish things off. Take a look at our next card. Here is Edgar, the Charmed Groom Showcase Edition. $8.98. This card's gone on a tear this month. Now, it was like a $4 or $5 card. It's gone up $5.48, you can see here, for the monthly changeover. When you take a closer look at Edgar, now, we know we've seen a lot of vampire decks created. Ever since Edgar Markov got reprinted, we've had a massive influx of vampire decks coming into the battlefield. Okay, we know people want to build this. They want to have fun with it, just like dragons are taking off. And if you haven't seen my Tarkir Dragon video, go check that out, the top 5 dragons you could buy before everything spikes. They actually all have been going up, not huge amounts, but the sales are hundreds a week now, so it's starting to ramp up the closer we get to Tarkir. You might want to catch that video if there's cards you're looking for. Now, Edgar, the Charmed Groom, is a 1 black, 1 black, 1 white, and 2 other for a 4/4. Other vampires you control get +1/+1. When Edgar Charmed Groom dies, return to the battlefield, transform. Then he comes back as a coffin, right? And at the beginning of your upkeep, you create a 1/1 white and black vampire creature token with lifelink, and then you put a bloodline counter on Edgar Markov. If there are 3 or more counters, you remove them and you transform him back into Edgar the Charmed Groom. So you can see this card does have a lot of playability. There's a lot of reasons why players might want to get this card, and it's less than $5. But here's the thing, about a month and a half ago, somebody went out there and was buying hundreds of copies when this thing was like 90 cents. Okay, for the regular versions, $1. It was just being bought up everywhere. Because, of course, we had mass printings in that particular era. But there's less out there now, and the price is drifting up. I'm not sure what's happening, but I need you guys to know that in case you're building with vampire decks or in case you decide you want to get in there. Now, if you look at that worship card, that is most often found for me in Commander. You use a lot of hexproof creatures to make sure they can't eliminate all your creatures at once unless they have a mass removal spell. So if you keep hexproofs, your stuff can't be targeted. Then, of course, worship's going to work really well for you. And then you have to have ways of bringing worship back in case they find a way of disenchanting it and still trying to hit you. It is a fun Commander deck to put together. There's lots of options out there, so don't be afraid to explore and see what's going on. You can find regular versions of worship for like pennies on the dollar, but that Lord of the Ring one is pretty awesome. Now, here at the end of the video, if you've made it this far, I just want to remind you guys that these card spikes often will peter out. Okay? That means the price will drift back down. The only exceptions seem to be for some of these sword scroll things from Lord of the Rings, the special ones. They've really kind of held their value overall, but they're even there drifting down. And even something like Copy Artifact, unless it's a true buyout where nobody's putting them back into the market, you are going to see this peter out as well, and it should drift back down. That could take 6 to 9 months for it to drift back down, but it's very unlikely that any single person can keep this kind of pressure up as the price rises, because if that card hits $200, a lot of people are going through their bulk bins looking to see if they have a couple of Copy Artifacts they're not using, or if they have 4 or 5, they're going to find a reason to dump it onto the market and maybe move that into higher cards like dual lands and the like. So something to keep in mind. There's no rush as far as I'm concerned to buy this card. If you've gone this long without a Copy Artifact, you probably can wait a little while longer before seeking this card out. Be cautious out there. It's a great card. I do think it should be $200, but that doesn't mean it has to be $200 right now. I mean the natural attrition it would take to absorb that into the market over the decades and into, hundreds of thousands of decks to slowly absorb the copies that are out there. It takes a while. Guys, thanks again for hanging out with me today. Thanks for being here on the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed today. I hope you found it a good, informative video, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for another one. So shop smart, shop as smart, have a great time, bring some friends to Magic, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Hey guys, a big shout out and thank you to the fantastic patrons of my channel. Because of those amazing patrons, we get to create daily uploaded content. We get to research new and inventive ways to get the content out to you, to find out the latest sales data, to do everything it takes to make this channel work. So if it wasn't for those patrons, those YouTube membership members, it wouldn't happen. So guys, a big shout out and thank you. And of course, I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. Okay, you've made it here. The coffee is in hand. And I'm kind of pacing right now. Guys, way too many Copy Artifacts are selling. Some kind of quiet buyout. Ramble jamble, but it's a quiet buyout. It's quiet. Nobody sent me data or information. A few months ago, I got somebody who told me some stuff with the unlimited ones that got bought and stuff that we had on the top 10, like unlimited got bought out. That's one thing. That was told to me. Okay, I knew that was coming. When I see it across things like eBay, TCG Player, Card Market, not so much locally because there's not a lot of stock available, but a few other places I know of, it's too many copies. It's just too many. It's not the norm. So if you're looking at buying this card, don't. Sit on it. Wait. I do not have any for the channel. Even if I wanted to buy it was like a $30, $40 card, even buying 10 copies would be like $500. Even I couldn't have done it even back then. But at the same time, I now know that. I'll keep it on my radar in case cheap copies come around. And I will try at some point, after everything calms down, to pick some up for the channel in case this happens again. And my fear is that somebody knows something I don't know. My fear is when this kind of thing happens, that maybe there's some crazy cards coming to Commander that are going to link with cards like this. Really make a driving force. And there are numerous scenarios where that could really come to pass. Just think of all the ways you can copy certain artifacts. I guess that would include crazy stuff that we already have in play, and we'll have to wait and see how that plays out, especially if you use it as things like Mirror Box. Couldn't you copy like a legendary artifact? Right? Anyway, insane. We'll see. That'd be too hard, I think, but you never know. You never know what people are going to do. Anyway, thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being here for the Ramble Jamble. We'll see you guys tomorrow. If I find anything out, I will definitely let people know the Discord and then on the Patreon. All right? See you guys soon. It's insane.